Have you ever wondered what it was like to be a successful businesswoman 2,000 years ago? What if I told you one of the most influential figures in early European history wasn't a king or a general, but a woman who sold purple cloth? This is the story of Lydia, a name you might not know, but whose impact is still felt today. Our story begins in Philippi, a bustling Roman colony, a crossroads of culture and commerce in what is now modern-day Greece. Imagine a marketplace, alive with the sounds of merchants hawking their wares, the aroma of spices and fresh bread in the air, and the warm Mediterranean sun casting long shadows. It's here, near the tranquil flow of the Ganges River, that we find our protagonist, Lydia. Lydia wasn't from Philippi. She was a woman from the city of Thyatira, a place renowned across the Roman Empire for one thing in particular: its production of purple dye. This wasn't just any color. In the ancient world, purple was the color of royalty, of power, of immense wealth. The process to create it was a closely guarded secret, involving thousands of tiny sea snails. A single gram of this dye was worth more than its weight in gold. And Lydia, she was a dealer in this luxurious commodity. She wasn't just a stallholder, she was an entrepreneur, a merchant of high-end textiles, a woman of means and influence in a world dominated by men. Picture her stall, vibrant bolts of purple fabric cascading like waterfalls, shimmering in the sunlight. From the deepest royal purples to lighter shades of lavender, each piece was a testament to her trade. She wasn't just selling cloth, she was selling status, aspiration. Her clients would have been the city's elite magistrates, military officers, and wealthy Roman matrons, all eager to display their standing through their attire. Lydia would have been a skilled negotiator, a keen judge of character, and a master of logistics, managing supply chains that stretched across the Aegean Sea. She likely had her own workshop, employees, and a home large enough to conduct business and host important guests. She was, in every sense of the word, a successful businesswoman. But Lydia's story isn't just about commercial success. It's about a pivotal encounter that would change her life and the course of history forever. On a quiet Sabbath day, Lydia, being a devout woman who worshipped God, went down to her usual spot by the river to pray. It was a common practice for Jewish communities, or, in this case, God-fearers, Gentiles who followed Jewish customs, to gather near a source of running water for prayer and purification when there was no synagogue in the city. She wasn't alone. A small group of women had gathered with her. It was on this day that two strangers arrived in Philippi. Their names were Paul and Silas. They were missionaries, traveling the Roman world with a radical new message. Having just crossed over from Asia into Europe for the first time, they sought out the local place of prayer. And so, by the riverbank, the Apostle Paul met Lydia, the seller of purple. Paul began to speak, sharing his message about a carpenter from Nazareth named Jesus, a man he proclaimed to be the long-awaited Messiah. As Lydia listened, something profound happened. The scriptures describe it beautifully. The Lord opened her heart to pay attention to what was said by Paul. It wasn't a dramatic, lightning bolt moment. It was a gentle, internal shift. The words resonated with the truth she had been seeking. All her life, she had worshipped God, and now, she felt she was hearing the completion of that faith. Think about the courage this took. Lydia was a public figure. Her business depended on her reputation with the city's powerful elite, people who were deeply invested in the Roman pantheon of gods and the imperial cult. To embrace a new, and at that time, very marginal faith, could have been social and financial suicide. It was a religion looked upon with suspicion by the Roman authorities. Yet, Lydia didn't hesitate. Her response was immediate and decisive, just as you'd expect from a sharp businesswoman. She and her entire household were baptized right there in the river. This detail is significant. Her household wouldn't just mean her immediate family. It likely included her servants, her employees, and perhaps even business associates living under her roof. Her conversion wasn't a private, personal affair. As the head of her household, her decision had a ripple effect, bringing her entire sphere of influence along with her. But Lydia didn't stop there. Her gratitude and commitment were practical. She turned to Paul and Silas and insisted, "If you have judged me to be faithful to the Lord, come to my house and stay." This wasn't a casual invitation. It was a powerful act of hospitality and patronage. She was offering these foreign travelers her protection, her resources, and the legitimacy of her social standing. By opening her home, Lydia provided the very first base of operations for the Christian message in Europe. Her house became the first European church. Imagine the scene. This elegant home, once a hub for luxury textile trading, now filled with prayer, teaching, and fellowship. The first Christian community in Europe wasn't founded in a grand temple or a formal synagogue, but in the living room of a businesswoman. This is a testament to Lydia's character, her decisiveness, her generosity, and her leadership. She saw a need and she met it, using her worldly success to support her newfound faith. Her story doesn't end there. A short time later, Paul and Silas were arrested, publicly beaten, and thrown into the Philippian jail for casting out a spirit from a slave girl, which angered her owners who profited from her. After a miraculous earthquake and the conversion of their jailer, Paul and Silas were released. And where was the first place they went? They went straight back to Lydia's house. It had already become the center, the safe haven for the fledgling community. They met with the other believers there, encouraged them, and only then did they depart from the city. Lydia's role was foundational. She wasn't an apostle or a preacher, but her actions made their work possible. She was a facilitator, a patron, a leader. Her story shatters our preconceptions of the roles of women in the ancient world. She was financially independent, respected in her community, and a spiritual leader. She is a powerful example of how faith and work can be integrated, how worldly resources can be used for a higher purpose, and how a single open heart and an open home can change the world. So, the next time you see the color purple, don't just think of kings and emperors, think of Lydia of Philippi, a businesswoman, a trailblazer, and the woman whose hospitality launched a faith on an entire continent. Her legacy isn't written in stone monuments, but in the vibrant, living history of a faith that found its first European foothold by a riverside, in the open heart of a seller of purple cloth. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found Lydia's story as inspiring as I do, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more stories of hidden figures from history. We'd love to have you as part of our community. See you in the next video.